Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the revamped affinity system. I'm going to be talking about how you can parent farm using the new system. This is pretty much going to be an overview, and I'm also going to be talking about how you can take an advantage of this, and of course how this will affect your current parents. So let's start with the changes. The changes are very simple. What it is that now only G1 races gives you affinity, but you gain plus 3 affinity compared to plus 1. In the current system, it's G1, G2, and G3 races that are common between each parent. For each one of them, you get plus 1 affinity. That does not include duplicates. If you have a duplicate of a G1, G2, or G3 race, the affinity is not added again. Affiliates are now disabled, and that includes the affiliates that are the triple crown, triple tiara, and the ones that increase affinity. Those will no longer give you extra affinity. And the base affinity of all umas, which is other, has been now higher. So for example, let's say Mihono Bourbon, she has more affinity with an uma like Anies Fusion, Senskai has more affinity with Special Week, and so on and so forth. So what does this change does? It makes parenting much more streamlined and much easier in general. The affinity on average has been massively increased compared to usual. You could actually also start seeing a point where people might start considering pushing attributes for affinity, and I will explain what this is and why it's very strong. So first things off, how will this change the current parenting? Currently, most of the parents will, like parent-wise, if you have done like the triple tiara and triple crown, then the affinity will stay about the same. But moving onwards, the newer parents might demand new niches, like Dart Sparks or Sprint Sparks in the great grandparents. So how do you take advantage of this? Before I say how you can take advantage of the new affinity system, I would not recommend you doing what I'm going to say you right now until we get Spark re-rolling, because it is very demanding and it requires you to have very good parents to begin with. If you do not have the parents, then I would not recommend it for you. This is just something that you could understand now and do it later. So let's start with the example of attribute pushing to gain more affinity. For example, we have let's say we are making a grandparent TM Opera O. What we want to look out for is that we want the two parents for that Opera O, the two grandparents, to have Dirt Sparks, and I will explain why later. And then all the other parents to be mild, or like the attribute that is lacking for the TM Opera O, because she starts with Dirt E and Mild E. That means that if you have, let's say you start off with like 5-star Dirt, and then you start off with like 10 Mild Sparks. That means that the attribute for TM Opera O will jump from Mild E to Mild A, because now you have a total of 10 or above for Mild Sparks. That means that she is going to be Mild A, and she is going to start off with Dirt C instead of Dirt E, because 1 point jumps it to Dirt D, and Dirt C is 3 points after that, so the total required is about 4. Here is the table that you will be running on the TM Opera O as an example. As you can clearly see, it's triple crown plus the Dirt rotation. It has 22 unique G1 races, which totals to 66 total affinity. As you can clearly see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh my god, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And there is no duplicate races over here, which of course is very, very strong. Should you consider doing this? Again, like I said earlier, no, you should not unless you are looking for that min-maxed affinity. You will have to only run the trailblazer scenario because this is the only scenario that lets you run any race on any turn without any problems. And you probably will not have the parents for this in the first place. So once we get Spark re-rolling and maybe after Champions Meeting 17, you can consider this approach. This is what I would recommend for most people. It's very standard. It's either the Triple Crown or Triple Tiara. But keep in mind that for the Triple Crown and Triple Tiara, I would highly recommend if you are focusing on one, then you go all in for that one. Which one is better? It's going to be Triple Crown. Most people run the Triple Crown already. It's only Tiara if the Uma cannot run long and medium. For an Uma like Nishino Flower, she can struggle to get even medium to be at good surface level, and of course she can't run the Triple Crown. So what I would recommend is of course run Nishino Flower with Triple Tiara instead, because you will lose about 9 affinity for the grandparents and 27 total affinity on the main parent, and that is a somewhat of a big difference compared to not running complete Triple Crown on all parents and Triple Tiara on all parents. So here is an example. This is going to be your standard TM Opera O. Let's say you just make TM Opera O and she does all 15 races. What ends up happening is that Marzensky, let's say she also does the 15 exact G1 races, she would get 45 affinity with TM Opera O. Alcondor Pasa, same thing, she will get 45 affinity with TM Opera O, which means that Alcondor Pasa and Marzensky will get plus 45 to their affinity, whereas TM Opera O will get plus 90 to her affinity. So here's the difference. The Triple Crown and the Triple Crown with Dirt. For the grandparents, they will average about plus 45 to their affinity because there is 15 total unique races, and of course the main parent is going to get plus 90 excluding the other side parent, because let's go back here for a bit. Senskai, this is only one side by the way, which is TM Opera O with the grandparents of Marzensky and El Condor Pasa. Let's say on the other side there is Kita-san Black, which also shares the Triple Crown and she does the same races as TM Opera O. She would get 45 plus 45 plus 45. 45 from Marzensky, 45 from El Condor Pasa, and 45 from that Kita-san Black. Because how the parents work is that they check for both of the grandparents and also the other side parent, which of course is very strong because that's how you get most of your skills. It's from the main parent itself. So that is explaining why excluding the other parent side. As for the Triple Crown plus Dirt, you get plus 66 affinity for the grandparents and 132 affinity for that main parent, excluding the other side parent, which of course is very big. The difference is actually somewhat noticeable. The grandparents, each of them will have 21 affinity difference between the Triple Crown and the Triple Crown with Dirt, and for the main parents it's going to be it is going to be 42 affinity for the main parent excluding the other side. If the other side also did the Triple Crown plus Dirt, that means that you will get 63 affinity difference, which of course is very big. Are my current parents fine after the change? Since the affinity system will be changed, you need to look throughout your parents' G1 races, and you should look out for the races that they have won only the G1 races. So you check, oh, my parents did 15 G1 races, that means that they are going to be the standard for high affinity parents, which of course is very nice. As you can clearly see, this is the two examples of my parents. I have a Triple Tiara Mihono Bourbon with 15 unique G1 races and 15 unique G1 races on this Major Palmer. Unfortunately, after this change, the Triple Tiara and Triple Crown difference is going to be bigger compared to the old system, because this is technically speaking I'm only losing 4 affinity on maximum. on this run compared to Majoro Palmer, but with the change, it's unfortunately going to be a 9 affinity difference, which of course hurts it more, but it is what it is. As for a question that you will probably asking yourself, which scenario now is going to be the best with the affinity changes? I'm going to be talking about the positives and negatives of each of the 3 current scenarios, being the URA Finale, the Unity Cup, and the Trailblazer scenario. First one is of course URA Finale. I think URA Finale, the benefits is that it's the best scenario for generating white skills. If you just care about the white sparks now until we get the spark re-rolling with the release of Grand Life and the 1.5 year anniversary, then URA Finale is going to be probably your scenario to go for. Another benefit is that you are going to consume much less time compared to any other person, because URA Finale is a short scenario compared to the Unity Cup and also compared to the Trailblazer scenario. However, the quality of the parents itself is going to be lacking, because you're not going to really hit the 601 to all your stats on average, which means that it's not going to have the best odds to get a very good blue spark, and for the white sparks itself the quality might be low, because you're not going to be able to reach rank SS most of the time. If you have an extremely well deck, you can technically reach rank SS now, but it's not going to be possible for most people until URA Finale gets reworked in the middle of Grand Life. As for an example over here, I made this Summer Marzinski before even the November 11 balance changes, and as you can clearly see, I was just using URA Finale as for my parenting, which of course was very simple, and the parent itself was actually very strong for the time. This was October 22nd, 2025, and it had a lot of good skills for that time, being right-handed, corner adept, straightaway adept, up-tempo, front runner straights, grab work, and playtimes over. Playtimes over was really rare to see in the first place, and that was a very strong parent, and I actually used this parent at least like 300 times at this point. As for Unity Cup, the Unity Cup is going to be better than URA when it comes to overall skills, because of the Spirit Explosions. You can get skills from there that matches your distance attribute or the strategy that you are using at attribute A, which of course is very strong. Ignited Spirit Wit is also very strong, and Ignited Spirit Power is decent. However, most of the time it's not really worth it to go for unless you are going there for Ignited Spirit Wit and Ignited Spirit Power. And overall, I think URA might be better, because if you are racing G1 races in URA Finale, you're still getting a lot of skill points over there, and if you are going with a parent deck, odds are you will probably get some, if not most of the skills that you need from the parents, and also getting them as hints, as URA Finale has more odds to get hints compared to Unity Cup. As for the Trailblazer scenario, unfortunately, even after the changes, it's still going to be the best scenario for parenting, because you do not have a career objective compared to URA Finale and Unity Cup. That means that you can technically just race every single G1 all the parents, which makes you have a lot higher affinity compared to most other people. Another added bonus is that you can reach rank SS, which boosts the quality of the white sparks itself for the parent, and combined with the dirt rotation, it could reach absurd amount of affinity. A total of like plus 400 affinity, which of course is extreme, because it's going to be 66 on the grandparents, so that's 66 times 4, that's like 244 affinity on the grandparents. Then you have like 132 on the parent 1 and parent 2. That's not even including the base affinity, so the affinity that you will have in general is going to be extremely high if you factor in the dirt rotation. If you even do not factor in the dirt rotation, that's still very good, because on the grandparent aspect you're getting 180 affinity from the grandparents was the main parent, and then the main parent itself is going to get, I believe, 135 affinity, being 45 from grandparent 1, 45 from grandparent 2, and 45 from the second parent, which of course is very strong. That means that affinity is still going to be very good, and of course we are not even factoring in the base affinity. So overall, the affinity now with the changes is going to be extremely high. The negative of this scenario, I don't need to even talk about this, it's just the most time consuming, which of course sucks, but it is what it is. As for Grand Life could potentially be a good scenario for parenting, since rank SS is straight up free on that scenario. And of course, it's not as time consuming as the Trailblazer scenario. However, the negative of this scenario is that it's straight up reliant on your cards and parents, because the scenario itself does not really give you that much skills. There is not like a substitute for the rival races, there is no substitute for the spirit explosions on the Grand Life scenario. So your cards and parents are going to be what's going to generate the skills that you are going to buy in order for you to get new sparks on that parent. One last thing that I want to talk about is going to be the stats uncaps, which of course is going to be very strong because they still give you high amounts of score. URA Finale and Unity Cup, it's going to be slightly easier for you to get rank SS on them. However, they still probably going to need the updated versions for them to actually be consistent to get rank SS on. As for the Trailblazer scenario, you can already technically get rank SS very comfortably. It just depends on what type of player you are, and of course with that high of a stamina cap, that means is that you can run like 3 stamina cards and you can reach very high amounts of stamina, and that will help you reach rank SS very easy. As for the Grand Life scenario, it's going to be straight up free because of the mechanics and overall power creep. You are probably going to expect to see like UG7 to UF aces, so making parents there is not going to be that difficult when it comes to at least reaching rank SS. What will I do once this comes out? For that time being, I will probably still farm the Trailblazer scenario until we get to the updated URA Finale, because the Trailblazer just has the easiest and most consistent SS ranks, and I value the white sparks a lot, and I hope that I just randomly get 3-star alongside good whites, which is like 1 out of 1,000, but sure. But unfortunately, I will still have to use the Trailblazer scenario, and I might also consider just using the dirt rotation alongside the triple crown, which of course is going to be very interesting. And that is pretty much it. This is the end of the video. If you found this video to be helpful, make sure to subscribe and make sure to join the community server, link in the comment section. I'm very close to 6,000. It will be very cool that if I can reach that. And that's pretty much it. If you found this video to be helpful, I hope you had a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next one.